question the status of the second deputy president. Maybe we need to go a bit further and say, what is the status if what we believe we've heard and we know of the first deputy president of the federation? I think we need to talk there. We need to talk about all those issues. It is very important.
We're now football players. Don't complicate the meeting that is moving quite very well and discuss matters that are not a discussion issue at the point. I appeal to you to abide by that. Actually, your complaint is misplaced. Yesterday, you were given more time than anybody there. You spoke. So make your point on the agenda.
No, we felt we needed to make that point because yesterday we were not given an opportunity to raise these issues. But it's fine. President, we do not intend to burden you with a number of resolutions or a lot of resolutions. We believe that as SABC, we've made a lot of resolutions. We've got a minimum program as the affiliates. But most importantly, that in 2012, we had the Cosatu 11 National Congress, and we agreed on the resolutions. And that was the premise as well of having called this National Congress. We are not taking anything from what the affiliates are saying, what they have been discussing, but our belief is that what they are saying now is what they said in 2012. And we had requested this leadership sitting up there that they need to deal with these issues. We had said, we are at the point where we're sitting with a Cosatu that is unable to do anything. I mean, we have spoken about the CW strike. Where was Cosatu in the trenches? We are speaking about the issue of 6.4% that has been given to the poor workers in the public sector who are...
Please be tolerant. If we say something that is not a fact, it's not an out of order. It's just an information that is not correct. Please be tolerant. Allow the comrade to speak.
I was not aware that our working class is very poor. I was not aware of that fact. But if they are saying they are not poor, which means then they are rich, they are comfortable with that. So I was not aware. I would apologize to that point. That indeed, if
see, I rescue you, you continue. Man. It's 7%, not 6.4. Please don't go back to it and make the point on the agenda.
We can debate that part. We can debate that part, President. But President Kopampo,
please allow him to finish his point.
Thank you. Thank you, President. President, as SABC is saying, it is very unfortunate that this Congress was denied an opportunity to really deal with the issues of unity and cohesion, electing not to, of course, address the issue of NUMSA and the issue of Comrade Zweli Nzima 5. But wherein, when you look at the discussion document, from page 28 up until page 37, there are a number of allegations that are made, which would have believed that it would have been important for those comrades to come and address this issue. When we requested this special national congress was to ensure that we don't hear one side of the issue, but we deal with these, with all the issues that needs to be dealt with. It's very unfortunate. But our fear, President, as we are about to conclude, is that we had said we wanted to have a special national congress because the Cosatu was paralyzed. And the unfortunate part is that between now and the national congress, what is it that we're going to do to ensure that we implement those resolutions? Because one of the points that we had made, we had requested the election of the national office bearers, which was kicked out. Now we're not too sure how we're going to move. Do we have the capacity up there to be able to implement those resolutions that we want? Do we have the capacity up there to be able to deal? Press, can I have your protection, please?
Please, comrades, allow him. But now, Baba, the problem you are creating for yourself, if I may assist you, you're not talking about the issue that is under discussion. You're talking about other issues.
No. President, I honestly beg to differ with all due respect. The
Okay,
issues
then,
that I'm raising, the issues that I'm raising.
well, I'm calling you to order, basically, Jalo, to focus on the issue.
All right. The issues that I'm raising, President, are contained in the discussion document. But in conclusion, President, we listened to your speech with quite interest, and we don't think that your speech was so much building. But in particular, President, there's a point that you made around the issue of Swaziland. And I know you'd want affiliates to take that, to go and picket with regards to the support for Swaziland. But the unfortunate part here is Swaziland, which is the point that I think as the leadership, you must take it up with the ruling party or with government, that they must have a declaration, a fair one, and a position on the issue of Swaziland. So that when we talk about the issue of Swaziland, we must not be cornered and be told, no, tell your members not to go and play, tell this and do that. But you yourself, you are unable to take a position on the issue of Swaziland. So if you are going to do that, you really need to engage them. It's either they stop dealing on the issues of SADC and so forth.
Your time is up.
No, I need to conclude.
Your time
President.
is up. Limosa. We are now in the 2 minutes limit, comrades, please. Limosa is the last but one. Sama will be coming through, and then we get a summary and see where the declaration work is, so that comrades we are able. And the Secretariat is asking that the comrades who are dealing with the declaration and the resolutions should come forward. Limosa.
Thank you, President. Firstly, before we support SACTU on the points that they've raised, Nehau and the teachers, we just want to use this opportunity, which is in itself a political school for delegates, that we should not be hypocritical as delegates to the Congress, that we enjoy other decisions of the CEC and choose to denounce other decisions of the CEC. I just want to make an example. The speaker before me has 592 members, and he therefore does not qualify to be in this Congress.
You're out of order, Limosa. Order. It cannot be. They qualify to one delegate.
I withdraw, President.
Yeah.
I withdraw, President.
Okay, let's allow Limosa to make their point.
Comrade President, I do think, however, that there is a fundamental matter about the Constitution, which is Chapter 17, which is the interpretation of the Constitution. That it would seem that since yesterday we were arguing in this Congress that the CEC does not have a right to interpret the Constitution, and that is not true. Chapter 17 is clear that the CEC interprets the Constitution and takes decisions on the basis of that interpretation. And if there is a complaint about the interpretation, then the Congress that meets after that, because it is only the Congress that can change the Constitution. This is why we then support Nehau on a specific resolution that says that let's have a commission that will discuss the Constitution so that whatever has been discovered as weaknesses in our Constitution can be corrected. We also want to say, Comrade President, in addition to the issues that were raised by Cosatu, Nehau, and the teachers, that we do need to reflect on the work that we were supposed to do in terms of working on uniting the affiliates of the Federation. Because we do have a standing resolution that says that some affiliates need to be assisted to unite. And that work at some point stopped, and that work needs to start, or that work, the Congress deserves a report that must be clear as to what happened to that resolution of the Federation. Comrade President, as Limusa, we feel that the 2015 plan was one of the best decisions that the Federation took post-1994. We therefore support Nehau that we need a thorough work leading to the Congress that must analyze and evaluate point by point how have we tried to implement the 2015 plan. For example, in terms of the 2015 plan, by 2009 we were supposed to be 4 million members here under the banner of the Federation. So we must be able to analyze as to say what happened, what is it that made us not to be able to achieve that. Comrade President, we think that your speech was very truthful and inspiring, and we agree with Popru that some of the points that you raised should find its way into the declaration of the Congress. We also want to highlight to the Congress the relationship between campaigns and unity, that it will be important that the campaigns that have been raised in your speech, in particular the campaign about CW and MTN, CW and the Post Office, CW and Telcom, become part of what we declare as this Congress that we are going to support those campaigns. We need to support the campaign of the farm workers. We need to intervene in the Western Cape and stop that new union that is beginning to take workers from FAO and organize them. Comrade President, we also think that it's important and timely that the Special National Congress talk to the revival of the anti-privatization campaign, because there are many voices that we are hearing, including the fact that what should happen to the pension funds of workers, what role they can play. We know that we have a resolution, but we think that it's important that Cosatu and its affiliates are engaged as to how then that resolution of the Federation, insofar as the use of its own pension and provident funds, is utilized.
Your last point.
Comrade President, the last point is the issue of that you mentioned also in your speech about SACAU and FSB. We do think that this Special National Congress really need to resolve on how or what is to be done to assist SACAU against his fight against the FSB and what they're doing. Before I sit down, President, I was very interested in, to hear a very rich connection, or should I say connection, that ZCTU was mentioned here. It was very rich in this Congress. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Limosa, the doctors, Sama. You are the last one, and then I will give our allies, not all of them in terms of the delegations, all the components, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute.
Thank you, President. I'm tempted
Including
to say,
the former national office bearers. Sorry, son.
Thank you, President. Without wasting time, I'm tempted to say this as the doctor, not insulting any member, as a woman doctor on top of that. Not insulting anyone, but we have made an analysis. This is actually a psychiatrical analysis of the whole Congress. You see, President, as an individual, when there are problems, you go through stages before you can reach healing. You go through a stage of anger, you go through a stage of denial, followed by acceptance, then healing. Comrade President, where we are, I think we're at a stage of acceptance, accepting the ill that has been going through the whole of the Congress. We are actually moving forward to healing processes, which is not going to happen over one day.
Sure.
Comrade, as we are saying, we need to be united. It is very important for all the affiliates to be inside, not outside. Comrade President, I will remind you of an incident in 2009, whereby you and the former SGGS, you were part of that discussion. When we as SAMA had problems, comrades, these problems of separation, they're not new. These problems are always there where there are infightings. And the only way, the very same president who's standing there called us and said, doctors, there is no need for you to be separated. There is no need for you to be fighting while you are fighting for the same pot or fighting for the same problem. Go back inside of SAMA and fight your own problems and come out strong. As I'm standing here, we did that. And we are a strong SAMA today. Comrades, while we are continuing fighting as the leadership, as all of us are here, this is not the battle of the members down there, but it's the battle of the leaders. What are we saying to our members down there? They actually say is when the bulls are fighting, I'm there. The grass is suffering. Lots of things are happening. Some of us as leaders are actually oppressing our other members down there. I'll give you a simple example before I finish. When we sit there trying to write medical certificate, for some of you, some of those people who write medical certificates are shop stewards. They say, doctor, please specify, otherwise my HR head won't be happy. And I said, but that's confidentially, doctor, patient's confidential. I can't do that. Doctor, I know I'm a shop steward. But that's unfair labor practice. Yes, my head of HR is the chairperson or whoever of a trade union. You come here and we continue fighting saying, this is Cosatu going that direction and that direction, while we have to go back home and do a retrospective study, look at ourselves, look at the wrongs that we are doing to the very same members down there. But all what we are saying as SAMA is that let us all be inside, fight the battle inside, go out victorious. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I must say, without comrades really intending to say my analysis on the inputs that were made, our women leaders were splendid today. I know that there are many comrades who were asking that I add them and put them in my list. I've really decided not to give them the opportunity. Please, I've decided that that's not going to be the case. So that we would first allow, if there is anything, we are not forced, our allies. If you really feel there's nothing to say, you are not forced. But one from yourselves, one from the SACP, first is going to be Sanko, if there's anything, the SACP, the ANC. But before them, 1 minute from the former leaders. And I have Comrade Peter Malepe here who would want to say a point in a minute. You know, when I was singing that song, Duma, Aya Duma Makoskazi. I thought like giving it to you to sing it, but you were very far. Please don't sing it now. Make the point. Yeah.
Thank you, Comrade President. Mine, Comrade, it's not about debating the issues that has been debated. It's all about pleading. I'm coming here on behalf of the former national office bearers. Yesterday we were more than 4, but today I found myself having been 1. Comrade, ayikho into engiyisukumelayo ngaphandle ukuthi nginicele nina abasebenzi abanikazi be-federation ukuthi cha sesizwile ke sibonile ukuthi ninama issues and no one should simplify the matters that you are dealing with in this conference. They are not simple, they should not be simple, but listening to you from the start up to now, one can only hope that the issue of unity is going to be taken up seriously. You know, as a former national office bearer, sometimes we communicate with each other, and the questions that we are asking, some will complain that the affiliates are not even informing us what is happening. We are not even invited to their NECs just to make a small anyana contribution. Comrades, we are here. We are here for you. That's why I am saying mine is to plead for the unity of the workers in Cosatu, so that once there's a unity, there will be no issue. No matter how difficult the issue is, you will be able to address those issues. Mangaba makabani nifuna ke sikuce phansi ngamadolo. Sizawucela uPresident Dlamini ukuthi akasibeke lapha neshashalaze siguqeke simbonise ukuthi hayi madoda siyacela ke ningamani ke kuxayanwe ke nilungise zonke izinto kodwa mayengaqhekeki iCosatu. Ayikho into ebuhlungu ukuthi sihlale lapha sibuze imibuzo ukuthi kwenzekalani kuCosatu singabe nayo impendulo. Ibuhlungu kakhulu, Comrade President. Asina impendulo, siyakwazi ukuthi eyethu chance ifumene sisebenzisile kodwa sisekhona ma comrade ningakhulumi ngathi etentini mase sikhahlele ibhakede nisikhumbule namanje sisaphila nisconsulte, we will be able to help you. Thank you, Comrade President.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Prapita, for those wise words. Let's hear whether Sanko has a point in a minute. We are very, very strict. Sanko. Ngihamba ngeprotocol mina yabo. Ngiyamsa kahle into. Covered. Thanks very much. Usungangena SACP. Thanks, Comrade Masuku.
No, thanks, President. And we appreciate the discussion that Cosatu is having, which is anchored on building unity. It was for us a political school because as we listen, we could hear and we could learn on the do's and don'ts in a revolution. And we implore that we make this unity a reality, because some of us have been brought up by the leadership of this trade union. And whatever we do, comrades, whatever we do in our work, we must know that the young people that are there, YCL is there, ANC Youth League is there, and it's emulating, and those are future workers that are going to be leading this union. And as we act, we must make sure that whatever we do, we are giving them an education that as they come and lead this union into the future, it's not going to kill it. Just some suggestion on things that we should be added as you prepare for the Congress in the document. That Cosatu, we might need to study the environment thoroughly in which we are operating in and consider a number of adaptations. We are going into a situation where you've got too many young people coming into the fold of a union. And the union that we are having is quite different from the one that we're having in the past of old people who are anchored into the principles of into the union. We also have to look at issues in the adaptation on issues around the level of development in each and every one of us and in each and every structures that we have. We also need to look at the global challenges that we are having today and the things that might actually be challenging the union. And some of those things that are there that might be coming into the union and deal with that. Just as an example, Chair, today as government we are spending a lot of money. A lot of money on litigations. And these litigations that are coming up in form of NGOs that are internationally structured. And what they use is technicality within our law and technicality within the Constitution, and they stick on that to actually kill you in terms of things that you might deal with. And I think it's something that we must look at seriously as to whether in the process of adaptation should not look at issues that manages that process, because we are going to end up going to court and out in court and out in court into the future. The last one we want to raise, Chair, is issues around dealing with issues of basic revolutionary principles. And they are not, and we mustn't deal with them in a very simple manner. They are very difficult to implement because in most cases they regulate our own behavior. And sometimes when we want to deal with them correctly, it's important that we must give a hearing to the next person so that we can be able to weigh yourselves. And if you miss that particular law, you are not going to be able to deal with the basic principle of democratic centralism, collective leadership, issues of criticism and self-criticism, issues of discipline and self-discipline, issues of commitment to a program. Because when we are in a trade union or when we are in a structure that is revolutionary, we're not just in a structure, there's a commitment that we made in terms of implementation of a program and a party. And we say this because we have an interest in the trade union. We have an interest because there are 2 million members currently that are there, that are content, that want socialism into the future. We have got 250,000 members. It's our interest that these members that are in Cosatu must be members of the Communist Party. And that's why we make this input that we do. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. The South African Communist Party, the leader of the alliance, Comrade TG, the Treasurer General Babu Mkhize.
Thank you very much, Comrade President, the leadership and the delegates. I think from the African National Congress, particularly the task team that is here, we would like to express our sincere gratitude to the leadership of Cosatu for convening this Special National Congress. I think we all are aware that this was the area of contention. Now that it has been hosted, we believe that it has actually helped to clear the air. Secondly, I think we must also appreciate, even if we might be feeling that there are too many issues and maybe there are tensions. But from where we sit, we appreciate the fact that the numbers of unions, all the affiliates, have come out very strongly to put their points of view across, whether they agree or disagree. We also appreciate the fact that although there are unions who might have had different views when there was voting yesterday and as they express themselves today, that they have stayed as part of this Congress. That is a very significant message, which I think we must all take. Because sometimes when we are engulfed with emotions because of our differences, we sometimes feel that everything is lost. But in fact, I think the biggest source of hope for workers in this country and for the Alliance and for the people of South Africa is the fact that Cosatu held a very robust debate, but all the affiliates stayed right through until the end of the conference, and there was no violence, there was no disruption, there was actually very robust differences expressed in various, by various speakers. But that's what we expect it to be. Sure. And so from where we sit as the African National Congress, we want to say to you, comrades, you have taken a very significant step in building Cosatu and uniting the alliance. It's a very, very significant step for us. We also believe that the ANC task team, together with the former leaders of Cosatu, must always be viewed as a resource that will help to smoothen areas where you might think you are disagreeing. You must also use us as a kind of facilitator of any issues that you think need to be discussed. There is no denying that there are various issues on which we might differ, but you expect the same inside the alliance. You expect the same even within each component of our alliance. From our last summit of the alliance, we came to understanding that right across the different components of the alliance, we experience the same things because we've got common membership, but we've also, we are prosecuting this revolution under very different circumstances than they were many years ago. So challenges are bound to arise, but what we need to do is to sit down, talk about them. I've been very encouraged to see how the comrades have spoken about that this is a process. We need to continue engaging. And I want to say to you, comrades, we will be sending a very positive message to the African National Congress that started the task team to say that the work to build and unite the Federation has begun in earnest, that you have been able to confront the areas of your differences. We would like to appeal to the different affiliates to utilize the structures of Cosatu in the CEC and in the next coming Congress to look at how to rebuild trust amongst ourselves and strengthen Cosatu. Unless we build Cosatu and strengthen it, we're actually jeopardizing the entire revolution. The ANC, the Communist Party, Sanko cannot be united unless Cosatu remains united. Thank you very much. Amanda!
Sekudala sisinikela ngamandla ethu okudala sekudala ngamandla ethu sekudala sitha amandla ethu igazi lethu sesitha amandla ethu igazi lethu sekudala awungamandla ethu sekudala sekudala sekudala
Othina sesishwa mandlethu. Wikas lethu. Mandla. Thank you very much. Comrades, we should allow this summation of where we are. I want to promise you, I will not do a closing remark. I will close immediately this phase is done. So let's be patient a little bit and allow the Acting General Secretary to deal with this matter quickly.
Thank you, Comrade President. The declaration of the Cosatu Special National Congress. The Congress of South African Trade Unions held a historic Special National Congress from the 13th to the 14th July 2015. This Special National Congress was convened to confront and address the challenges of unity and cohesion currently facing the Federation. These included issues of leadership. The Special National Congress accepted that in the discussion regarding the unity and cohesion of the Federation, issues related to leadership were also adequately covered. In this regard, the Special National Congress called for honesty, integrity, and collective leadership in building unity and cohesion. The Special National Congress met following a successful Alliance Summit and the Special National Congress of the SACP, which dealt with the challenges confronting our revolution. The Special National Congress reaffirmed that Cosatu belongs to the Congress movement, thus the ANC-led liberation movement. We pursue the National Democratic Revolution as a direct route to socialism. Delegates affirm the character of Cosatu as a federation of trade unions that is a class-oriented and that Cosatu is not a political party. Contrary to the reported threats of disruption, the 2,470 delegates represented more than 1.9 million members of the Cosatu stood up and defended the Federation. Workers said we want unity of Cosatu. Cosatu is a home of all workers, and workers will be better organized under the leadership of Cosatu. The Special National Congress said we want discipline within the Federation and its affiliates. Workers said we want Cosatu that is based on its constitution and founding principles of one union, one industry, one country, one federation, pay-up membership, worker control, and worker solidarity. The Special National Congress met at a time when there was a heightened offensive against the workers and the working class in general at an international and national level. We note the concerted offensive against the people of Greece who have enjoyed sustained attacks on their livelihood as the IMF, European Union, and European Central Bank are forcing the ordinary people of that country to pay for the bailout given to the private companies. We are in an age of the highest stage of imperialism, characterized by the centralization and concentration of capital and wealth in the hands of a few, the financialization of the economy due to the system and chronic stagnation of the productive sector. The systematic attack on the social functions of the state that has been achieved through the struggle of the workers and the people. The commercialization of all spheres of social life, in a logic of privatizing all that can bring higher returns to the capital, the attack on international law and sovereignty of the state, the centralization of political power and its submission to economic power, and the strategies of militarization of international relations. Over the past 4 decades, neoliberal regimes of accumulation has failed to resolve the systemic crisis of capitalism. It has attempted to restore profitability through the destruction of the welfare state, cuts in real wages, intensification of work periods, deregulation and increase of the working hours, deregulation of labor relations, widespread casual labor, particularly among the women and the young workers, super-exploitation of migrant workers, appropriation of labor productivity or productivity gains by the capital, increased retirement age, cuts in pension fund and retirement benefits, increase in unemployment rates, regression of social and labor rights, the denial of rights to bargain collectively and to strike. These offensives, seen at an international level, get translated into our country in different forms, and they aid to the prevailing colonial and apartheid social conditions in which the triple challenges of unemployment, poverty, and inequalities continue to define South African society 21 years into our democracy. The right to strike, which we have won through our own struggle and secure as a constitutional right, has been challenged by international capital representatives at the International Labour Organization. The Democratic Alliance, which is the political representative of this offensive against workers, introduced a bill in Parliament in 2014, which in practice was intended to severely limit the constitutional right. Despite all these challenges that our federation has been facing since our last Congress, we're able to launch a fight leading to the Parliament under the leadership of the ANC, rejecting this DA bill. In 2013, the Free Market Foundation launched a constitutional challenge against the right to collective bargaining. As Cosatu, we joined SABC to oppose this constitutional challenge, launched on 5 March 2013 by the Free Market Foundation to the extension of bargaining council agreement to non-parties. We argue that this was nothing less than a war against the entire labor relations regime built since 1994, which the aim of leaving workers defenseless against even more ruthless exploitation by employers than they suffer already and plunge into ever or even deeper poverty. Employers continue to seek creative ways of evading compliance with the labor legislation. The 2014 Employment Equity Report gives testimony to this, and it shows that the major beneficiaries of employment equity from the report are not different from the major beneficiaries of apartheid. It has primarily benefited white women. The Special National Congress met at a time when, despite qualitative advance secured since 1994, democratic breakthrough, an estimated 50% of South Africans still live in poverty and the unemployment rate stands at more than 37%. Inequality remains deep, gendered and racialized. This is linked to the fact that the share of the wages in the national income has been decreasing from just below 55% in 1994 to 51% in 2012. The marginalization of the working class in the economy has also been evidenced by the flexible labor market in the form of actualization, outsourcing and the use of labor brokers, the commodification of basic needs, and the suppression of workers' wages below productivity gains. Cosatu remains resolved in its campaign for a living wage and the fight for a total ban of labor brokers and for a reliable, affordable, safe and accessible public transport. Therefore, we remain opposed or against the e-tolls. Despite the intervention by the democratic government, which included more than 15 million people receiving social grants, the reality of capitalism in our country has meant there is a chronic high unemployment, low-paying jobs, casualization. Our people do not have enough money to buy food. People who happen to be employed or have casual jobs indicated that they are food secure. There's something wrong here, comrade. We need to sort it out. Let me jump. As Cosatu have always raised these crisis features of capitalism, not because we expect capitalism to be any different, but because we seek to overcome this system with a rational human system of socialism. Indeed, in the current terrain of the National Democratic Revolution, as Cosatu have placed on the table before the nation our new growth path, which put forward a comprehensive set of proposals on how systematic triple crisis of unemployment, poverty, and inequality can be overcome. For its part, the South African Communist Party has placed on the table its own comprehensive proposal in its document, Going to the Roots, which have been adopted by its recent Special National Congress. This proposal of Cosatu and the party mutually reinforce each other. Indeed, the alliance as a whole share the perspective of a radical second phase of our transition. However, the alliance must move to the next stage of agreeing to the actual content of the radical second phase. We recognize that our 2015 plan is now coming to an end in the year of our 30th anniversary. We celebrated this year May Day pledges on repositioning our federation. In keeping with the true tradition of our federation, we must now initiate a process deeply looking at ourselves. We must study how affiliates and Cosatu structures operate in practice. This must be with a view to subsequently elaborating and enriching the content of our back to the basic perspective, as discussed by the 2011 Congress and the 2013 Organizing and Bargaining Conference. The development of the medium-term conjunctural political strategies perspective will then emerge, properly discussed and formulated to the basis of this Congress. The Federation also recognized the need to develop agreed and binding strategies of dealing with business unionism, which must include developing policies on the investment arms, retirement fund, procurement policies, and fundraising. The Special National Congress said that Cosatu must develop a conscious response and adaptation to our present reality of capitalism that is corroding the soul of our trade union movement. Similarly, we pledge to develop innovative modes and forms of organizing workers and demarcation of organizational scopes, measures, and building super unions in line with the Cosatu principle of one union, one industry. Thus, we are aiming to embark on a disciplined and well-informed process supported by research, which shall also give answers as to why decision of measures have not been implemented, so that we can be able to overcome the barriers. We emerge from this special National Congress more united, more committed, and more determined than ever to achieve our objectives of building strong, militant, non-racial, non-sexist, revolutionary workers' federation. We are deeply conscious of the fate and hopes placed upon us by millions of workers in our country and beyond. We are unapologetic in our resolute pursuit of a better life for all workers, and we remain cognizant of our historical duty to rally workers to the cause of social, economic, and political freedom. Our rally cry remains the Marxist call: the workers of the world unite. You have nothing to lose but your chains. That's the end of the declaration, President. If I may add one thing, that we agreed, comrade, that, or we recommend that this resolution has to be cleaned up in terms of typing area and in terms of grammatical errors that may arise, and allow the political commission to clean and be able to implement this declaration. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Comrade DGS Uprataiga. Satawa, I see you. Satu, NUM, Nehau, Fau. Okay. Pope Crew, Samu, Dinosa. Let's hear these affiliates as I've just mentioned, talking to that, and take note of the fact that it has got to be cleaned up, and add, Brataiga, that the political commission should indeed work on a programmatic implementation of this declaration. Satau. Volume, please.
Thanks, Comrade President. Satau rise to adopt the declaration with what the Acting General Secretary have just alluded. Thank you.
Thank you very much, teachers.
Thank you very much, President. As such, we rise to second the adoption of the declaration, but we'll want to add two issues that we think are important and they should have been covered. The first one is the issue of the release of the President of PDEMO in Swaziland. I think we must be able to cover that as part of our international solidarity. And secondly is the issue of prioritizing gender struggles as Cosatu, as was raised sharply. So we just want to add those issues and see how we capture those issues in the declaration. Thank you.
Thank you very much. NUM? There's been a mover and a seconder.
Thank you, President. We rise to support the declaration with all the amendments and additions made, including the one, President, that speaks to those who have been boycotting the CEC, that we expedite our endeavors to keep them inside the House. But ultimately, if that fails, that we do have a debate around that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. NUM, Pop Crew. Kanjani phela? Popru, you covered, Samu. Then Fau, you'll follow.
President, we all covered, but we wanted the declaration to also include the undertaking by the African National Congress task team to be able to be available every time when we need the assistance.
Thank you very much, Fau.
No, thanks, Comrade President. I think let's exclude what was not dealt with in the declaration. Issues of leadership. Well, the declaration as drafted says issues of leadership were dealt with adequately. I don't think that's an accurate reflection. So I would submit that reference basically be removed from the declaration. Issues of leadership were not adequately dealt with. They may have been raised, but they were not adequately dealt with. That's our submission.
But otherwise, you support the declaration. Okay, Dinosa. Yeah, you see, FAO do not oppose the declaration, comrades, please. They want an exclusion of that aspect of the declaration. Dinosa?
Thank you, President. Let's also add to the declaration as read by Prataiga, the president of Orlando Pirates fan club. President, we want to just raise these points that must be added. That I think as the Congress, we said that we reaffirm the 2012 Congress resolutions. And I did not hear that we must reaffirm those, but also prioritizing the campaigns that we had started, because Cosatu has not been campaigning. And we think that between now and the ordinary Congress, Cosatu must begin to campaign and talk to issues that address workers. For an example, we know that we have the Battle of Etol, and we know what has happened. So Cosatu must be able to intensify that fight between now and even towards the National Congress and beyond, because we don't think that we have lost that battle. All we need to do is to intensify the fighting. But also the resolutions which were taken at the organizing and bargaining conference, as we said that we reaffirm them. Can we add a line that talks to the protection of collective bargaining? And we say this because there's been a consistent effort to undermine collective bargaining. I think we must draw lessons to the recently concluded public sector wage negotiations, where we agreed on 7% and 6.4 was implemented. And when we threatened that, when we withdrew from the agreement, only then the 0.6 was added. We think that we must stress that collective bargaining must be protected at all costs, and government must respect collective bargaining. When we sign for whatever agreements, it must be in good faith, because we think that within the resolution we must still condemn that the government negotiated in bad faith. The last issue is that we must also commit that the leadership of all affiliates, the leadership of Cosatu, the leadership of the Alliance, when it comes to these issues that we are facing, when we are at the public platforms, we must put in the declaration that we must all commit ourselves that we are not going to speak recklessly.
We must always preach unity at all costs. And whenever a leader takes a public platform, they must be responsible with what they say. On the last point is that the issues that were raised by FAO, if they are affected, then as DINOSA, we support the adoption of this declaration, but let's phrase the issue of leadership the way FAO has raised it. Thank you, Prastum.
I see you are graduating. You are there. Thanks very much, Dinosa. That was on a lighter note. No. Ancestry, cool. Oh yeah, before you cool. Nehau, my apology, Mongameli wami. Awungaze ngabuyele ekhaya.
Thanks, President. We're just persuading the President not to withdraw your shop stewardship for getting us, having noted us to speak at this Congress. President, we rise to join all affiliates who have moved and seconded the adoption of the declaration. But just want to add one point, President, on the declaration, that within that the declaration must note the release of Cuban 5 and draw and be inspired by the visit that they've just concluded recently in our country, which Cosatu participated. The second thing, President, we want to say that FAO must not be worried, President, on the leadership, because FAO itself admits that we were not adequate enough. That demonstrates that we have
Well, we do apologize for that technical problem. That was a live crossing to Cosatu's special national congress.
The space is still open. They can contribute towards that Congress. Thank you, President.
Thank you very much. The last union is Communication Workers Union.
Thank you very much, Comrade President. We welcome the declaration as proposed and would appreciate it if it could go further and cover two issues in the ICT sector. One, condemnation of job losses in state-owned enterprises, because where we stand, we believe that this is contrary to what the government that we know stands for. Secondly, that leads to downward variation of working conditions. So if those two issues could be covered, we'll be very appreciative. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Communication Workers Union, and I trust that the resolutions committee, the declaration committee has taken on course all the matters that were raised in the context that they were raised, but that we shall then go to the political commission to fine-tune this work so that it is developed into an active program of the Federation, building and leading up to the next National Congress of Cosatu in November. So have set this special National Congress. Can I confirm with the... Yeah, shaya izandla manivuma ningathi makhosi. So we do have a declaration, comrades. I must make note here that amongst our guests, which is a matter that one guest was insisting to be added, about the release of political prisoners in Swaziland to be added in that declaration. Input, can we add that particular point too? But the point I was also making here as we close, again, President Magwaiba, I cannot go home if I do not mention here that amongst the former leaders, not former leaders of Cosatu, but a former CEC member of Cosatu, who was a president of Nehau, Comrade Nolutando Mayende, is here with us since yesterday. We thank you so much, CC, for having stayed with us. I'm told, and I can see, again, I will not be able to live well with my other fellow in the Central Committee of the party due to a possible misbehavior, to acknowledge as we end our CEO of the ETP SITA, Umama Unombulelo Mxesi. Comrade delegates, we have come to the end of the Special National Congress of Cosatu. We have participated, we indeed